Manual tweeting, pros and cons. Manual tweeting, as we have defined, involves automated publishing of content that you have manually selected. This is content that you have curated. The publication is automated, but your engagement is manual. You're going to find niche-related accounts. You're going to engage with them manually. You're going to tweet, leave comments, so on and so forth. Here is how the advantages and disadvantages break down. Pros. The first advantage is to get a higher level of engagement. You actually get to say to these people what you think. You get to interact with what they have to say. Maybe they're critical about your idea, so you explain your position to them. You give them a counter-argument. You ask for examples, or you rebut what they have to say. When you do this, you're not engaging in a pissing contest. Let me be clear, this is nothing to be emotional about. Instead, you use this as an opportunity to prove to them that you know what you're doing. True experts will accept the fact that not everybody will agree with them. When these experts are satisfied that you argued your position well, even though you don't agree with them, they respect you. They also respect you when you give them information that they may not know. This can lead to instant expert status. You only need to do this a couple of times with the right people and, believe me, they become your cheerleader. Another advantage is you get access to a pre-qualified niche audience. When an authority leader interacts with you on Twitter, they're actually publishing their conversation with you on their feed. This is a big opportunity. Don't blow it. When they respect you enough to keep responding and you give them one top-notch answer after another, they might even retweet a tweet of yours. This is a bonanza. Why? These people are already experts on Twitter in a specific niche field. This means that they have attracted people who consider them authorities. When they engage with your content to the point that their followers see your brand and your content, you get access to that audience. Psychologically, people would see if the person that I respect and admire so much respects this other person who I don't know enough to engage with them respectfully. I should pay attention. If this keeps up and the person who they follow keeps repeating your stuff or keeps engaging with you, it's only a matter of time until some of their audience members would jump over and follow you as well. Please understand, this is not a zero-sum game. It's not like they would unfollow the one expert to follow another expert. Instead, they're already following one expert and they would just follow another expert. They would be following an additional expert. You're increasing the social influence pie instead of fighting over somebody else's influence. They're not losing out. Another advantage to manual tweeting is the speed at which you get backlinks. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you want to boost your website's SEO and you want to get more search engine traffic, you will need backlinks. You can get this much faster when you do manual engagement. The people you're engaging with are in a better position to see that you know what you're talking about. You get to earn their trust and their respect faster. Once this happens, they are more likely to interview you or share content that you posted on your website. Whatever the case may be, this produces a backlink. This backlink really is a measurement of respect for your authority or an acknowledgement of your credibility. It acts as a vote of confidence. The more you reach out to a lot of authorities, the more high-quality backlinks you get. This can boost the overall ranking of your website. Finally, you may be invited to speak at conventions, workshops, or seminars. People might ask you to submit an original article that they would be publishing somewhere else. Best of all, you may get introduced to a big player in your industry. You might get a job offer. You might get some sort of consulting opportunity. Honestly, the range of opportunities available to you is endless. You just need to get out there. The best way to do this online is manual tweeting because you are in full control of your engagement, you craft the public persona you project, and this enables you to be more aware of opportunities as they flash into existence. Disadvantages. The big cons against manual tweeting should be obvious. It takes a lot of time. That's all I need to say. It should be self-explanatory. Second, it's content intensive. While content curation can help you tremendously, it can only go so far. You cannot become a global expert on a particular niche on Twitter and be respected by all other subject matter experts if all you do is share their stuff. That's just not going to happen. Ultimately, they're going to ask you, what about your stuff? What do you have to say? What does your original research indicate? You don't want to come up with a zero when asked those hard questions. Finally, there is no assurance that you will get some sort of alliance. I hate to say it, but certain niches really don't get much coverage on Twitter. You might be able to interact with a high level of niche authorities on Twitter, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they operate blogs that can then link to you. Still, on balance, manual tweeting on Twitter delivers more benefits than its costs. Manual Twitter follower generation. How do you generate followers organically on Twitter using a manual technique? It's as basic as finding niche-specific accounts and finding their followers. Follow these niche-specific accounts, but pay attention to their followers. Follow followers who you know are truly interested in your niche. This requires research. You actually have to look at their tweets or look at the stuff that they're retweeting. Once you see a pattern and it is niche-related, follow these follower accounts. I know this is simple, but it's also effective. How to find the right niche influence leaders on Twitter. At this point, it should be fairly clear that you need to follow the right people on Twitter. Otherwise, the tips I've shared with you will not work. If you're just going to follow random people on Twitter, you don't know who you're influencing. In fact, you don't even know if you're influencing them at all. You have to understand that on Twitter, some people generally follow a general rule. If you follow me, I follow you. Nowhere in this does it say they're actually interested in what you have to say. That's a big problem. If you attract the wrong following, you're not going to get many results from Twitter marketing. In fact, the results you get would be the same as if you did not do Twitter marketing at all. That's a waste of time. You need to find real people. You also need to find real influential people. This isn't bad enough. You need to find real influential people in your niche. How do you do this? Here's my step-by-step guide. Pay attention to their biography. Look at their bio. Is it on point? Does it indicate the persona of a person who is truly interested in your niche? This is crucial. If there are no niche-related keywords there, or it's not obvious that this person is part of your target demographic, and it's not some sort of passionate or credible enough authority in your niche, then this is probably the wrong person. You may be barking up the wrong tree. Look at their follower-to-following ratio. This ratio is simple. Look at the number of people this person follows and look at the number of people following this person. If this person's followers greatly outnumber the accounts this person is following, chances are this is a real account. It is not some bot that is fully automated. Instead, this person actually has influence because for how many people he or she is following, he is followed by hundreds, if not thousands of more people. This is very important. If it turns out that the number of people following this person is pretty much the same as the number of persons he is following, it's probably not a good idea to follow that person. This person is probably just using some sort of software to take advantage of the fact that when you follow people, they follow you back. Some of them follow you back. Pay attention to their level of engagement. Look at the stuff that they talk about. Pay attention to their tweets. What do they constantly retweet? What do they tweet about? Are they talking about the same stuff most of the time? Does their account get a lot of retweets and posts, retweets and engagements? Do they get a lot of favorites? Is there a lot of engagement with the content they share? Even if this person is totally focused on your niche, but it turns out that their tweets don't get much engagement, they may not be all that influential. Becoming credible with them and getting access to their market may not work out for you. Their audience may not work out for you because they're not really authorities. Pay attention to the specificity of their posts. Look at their posts. Here's a rule of thumb. If 80% or more of their posts have something to do with your niche, follow them. Follow them if all the other points I raised above apply. But if it turns out that this person's bio is on point, it has more followers than the accounts that he or she is following, it has a high engagement level, but this person focuses on generalized content, this person may be a dud. In other words, this person is some sort of Twitter celebrity. This person is only an authority because of their personality and not much else. They're not an authority because they focus on a niche. They're not an authority because they are truly passionate about a niche. People only follow them because they think their personality is interesting. So, what you get is some sort of individual celebrity market. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a niche audience. Follow and engage. So, what do you do when you find a niche-specific and truly authoritative account on Twitter? First of all, they have to meet all the criteria listed in Video 5. Assuming they pass with flying colors, you follow them. Don't stop there. This is just the beginning. Once you follow them, you engage. Now, a lot of people have all sorts of misconceptions regarding what engagement means. Some people think that if they just click the heart button that they are engaging. They think that if they retweet that they are engaging. No, it goes beyond that. You actually have to engage in a one-to-one conversation with the person tweeting. You click the reply button. I'm not talking about the direct message button. I'm talking about the reply button. Here's where it gets a little tricky. You can't just use a stock answer like, hey, good post, or you're a genius. I admire you. I love you. No, that doesn't work. Those are worthless. Why? And true authorities get those all the time. They're credible. They know what they're talking about. So they get a lot of, hey, good post. You're a smart guy. You're a genius. So what? They get those all the time. You're not going to stand out. Remember, the whole point of engagement is to get on their radar. You want them to notice you. This is all but impossible if you're doing the exact same thing everybody else is doing. Everybody thinks that they're a genius already. Yet another guy piping up and saying the same thing is not going to register. How do you truly engage? Here's what I do. I ask questions. I know that sounds basic, right? But you have to ask the right question. You have to ask a question that indicates to the person loud and clear that you've read their post. Maybe you click through the link that they shared. Maybe you analyze their tweet. Whatever the case may be, your question must communicate this. Your question must get them to think or analyze or look at things with a new perspective. When you do that, you get respect. Why? You're pushing them. You're challenging them. You're not just asking a throwaway question that they already know the answer to. You're not asking something that they've answered 100 times before. You're basically letting them earn a chance to prove why people think they're experts. Most mature adults respect this. They're not scared by this. They're not threatened by this in any way. Even if you do come across somebody who has a thin skin or views this as an attack, you still gain authority and credibility because other experts are following that person. When they see that engagement, they quickly see that you actually have a working brain. Imagine that. You're not just a blind follower. You're not just another face in the crowd. This makes you stand out, even if the expert that you are asking questions to reacts in a negative way. It's on them. It's not on you because you're just asking a question. Of course, you have to ask in a respectful way. You cannot use loaded questions like, when did you stop beating your wife? Or how was it the first time you got hooked on drugs? You see where I'm coming from? Don't ask those types of questions. Discuss controversial points. Another way to get on people's radars is to focus on controversy. Now, please, don't mistake this for being a troll. I'm not saying that you're going to create artificial controversies. I'm not talking about stoking divisive issues. I'm not talking about any of that. You see, in any kind of subject, there will always be two sides. This applies to niche subjects as well. There's always the conventional wisdom, and then there is everything else. What if there are techniques or approaches or strategies that would get better results? For some reason or other, these are just not talked about. For some reason or other, these are kept under the rug. When you discuss these or raise these with experts, this highlights that you, yourself, are an expert. After all, if you fully explain these or fully describe these accurately, you are basically lecturing in an underhanded way people who are reading your tweets. You're letting them know of something that they may not have heard about. You are hinting at a body of knowledge that either they're trying to run away from or they may have an unclear understanding of. The fact that you tease this information communicates to them in a clear way that you are some sort of expert. Let's put it this way. You stand out from the crowd, and you're not just this random person saying, hey, good post, or you're a genius, or what do you think about this topic which has been raised millions of times before? Whatever you do, focus on real engagement. This is the bottom line. Real engagement means real person-to-person contact. This means picking somebody's brain. This means sharing information on a real profound personal level. This may not be always comfortable. It definitely is not always convenient, but it's absolutely necessary. You have to reach out. You have to engage. You have to communicate. You have to get the point across. This doesn't mean that you have to always be 100% in agreement. However, it means that you do have to always be 100% respectful. I know this is hard to do if the person you are engaging would feel threatened or get soft on you in the worst way. It's very tempting to fight back. It's very tempting to push back. Fight fire with fire, right? Well, here's the thing. If they act in a very unprofessional way and you keep your cool, who wins? Your brand wins. People start seeing you as an authority. People start seeing you as an alternative. This is how you get on the radar. Either things work smoothly and they agree with you and will love to help you, or things don't work out. When things don't work out, you can still win. How? Through your professionalism. You just have to control your emotions. Twitter is notorious for flame wars, troll attacks, and all sorts of hassles. But if you're able to keep your head together and focus on what you're trying to accomplish, things will work out for the best.